I know a lot of you don't know what these are, and that's the entire point of this video, because believe it or not, they're actually pretty helpful. I'm just going to start out with a short description and an example of each one. Then, to really drive it home, I will show the full process of rendering with my favorite blending modes. But before we start, hi, I'm digitalart, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're not, then thanks for coming back. Now, let's get into the video. First, we're just going to start out with 3 random colors, but they have to vary in saturation and hue. Okay, now that we got these, I'm just going to go 1 layer above, make it a clipping mask, and for each of them I will just draw with the green on top of them, only for half so you can see the difference when I actually apply the blending layer. And also I'm just going to go in the order that Procreate already has them. A lot of digital art apps use this order, so it's also pretty helpful if you're not using Procreate. But first we got multiply. So basically, if you use the same color as the color beneath, you get a slightly darker hue, and if you just use the same color, like say this one, it's darker, but it's still a hue of green. This is mostly used for shadows. Now, darken, it makes no change if it's the base color, as you can see here, but it keeps the darker of the two. So now for shade and darken are literally the exact same, so we don't need any difference there. Color burn is used to darken the image. It's darker than multiply, also adds some saturation. You can kind of see it over here. It's not very visible. This is also just used for shadows. Now, linear burn, it decreases the brightness of the base color. It's darker than multiply and less saturated than color burn, which is what we previously did. Now, darker color, you see it's done nothing right here. Pretty much the same as darken, but it uses all the colors on the base to determine how much it darkens. So apparently all of the colors on the base are darker than all the colors on this base, so it just didn't darken anything. Now we got normal, very, very easy. You know what normal is. Now we got lighten. So it's exactly like darken, but instead of making it darker, it makes it lighter. So pretty easy there. Screen, it makes pretty highlights based on the layer luminosity, so it just makes it more luminous. Now color dodge, this is also used to create highlights. Again, the red, you can kind of see it, not that much, but the highlights are brighter because the layer decreases the contrast between the base and the blend colors, results in saturated and blown out highlights. But if you use green or red, which complementary colors, I guess it won't work. Now for add, I'm sure a lot of you have used add without really knowing what it is. Again, it makes them extremely bright and saturated. You should really only use this for highlights. Now lighter color, literally exactly like darker color, but it makes it look lighter. Again, darker color and lighter color, they don't do anything, they don't change anything with the same color as the underneath layer. Then overlay, I love using overlay. You're gonna get to see this one in the full rendering process, but it shifts the hue to make it more saturated to help with overall appearance of the piece. And personally, I think it just makes it look more finished and clean, especially when you add like a light orange over your whole drawing. Then soft light, basically it's overlay but less harsh. Hard light, combination of multiply and screen, but it is less intense. Vivid light, extreme version of overlay and soft light, but anything lighter than 50% gray is lightened. Anything darker than 50% gray is darkened. Then we got linear light. It combines color dodge and burn. Then we got pin light. It uses darken and lighten simultaneously. Basically, it just removes midtones. Oh, hard mix, yeah. Creates super flat and saturated look. It only produces black, white, and any of the 6 primary colors, which are red, yellow, green, blue, magenta, and cyan. As you can see, it has yellow, green, and red. It's very, very bright. Now for difference, uses difference of base and blend colors to produce blend. White colors invert the colors of the base layer, and gray darken the color. Okay, exclusion, literally the exact same as the one before, except when gray is applied, it doesn't darken. And then subtract, darkens color but subtracts brightness, works best on lighter areas. This probably would not be used well for shadows because it's like really not saturated. Then divide, it's literally the opposite of subtract. Then hue, use this to change the colors, like to change the initial colors in a layer while keeping everything else, so it keeps the saturation, keeps luminosity. And as you see, if you add the same color as the base layer, it changes nothing because it's already the same color. And then saturation works like hue. Instead of changing the hue, it changes the saturation. And then color, it's pretty much just used to turn anything into the same color like hue. And then luminosity works like hue, saturation, and color, except it's with the luminosity opacity. And there is our like speed run of all of the blending layers. So if you really like need to go over them for a longer amount of time, I would recommend looking at the Procreate handbook, that website, and just search up blending layers. It has a lot of really nice explanations. Now I'm going to dive deeper into the tutorial for some of my favorites, which is pretty much another way of just saying let's render together. Okay, as you can already see, I have the sketch done and the base colors filled in already. With the sketch I did have a little bit of shading, but that's just with the sketch. Now since I have all the base colors merged together, I'm going to just add a layer above it and turn it on to multiply, and cannot forget to make it into a clipping mask. First, just gonna grab this color and start adding shadows with that color, but only on the skin. And if I want to add any darker shades with this multiply layer only on the skin, I'll just take one of the ones that I already added the shadows on, and I'll take that color, and then that will automatically just make a darker color. And that's just multiply with the face, and then you basically just do the same with all the other ones, but with picking the same color as it already is. And since the hair is a little desaturated, I'm going to add a little more saturation to it. So now that we have multiply, I actually just learned this new trick, and it's where you do soft light. You grab like a blue, then you get an airbrush. You kind of go around the face like this, and then you grab like an orange, and you just add Gaussian blur, and then you like lower the opacity. Then another clipping mask, then I usually just like to go to overlay, and this is where you really gotta trust the process. So I take this bluish color, usually just purple. I get the same brush that I like to render with, and then I just go fill in all the biggest shadows that I think I have, and then I just like go up, and red would be the next color, and then it's orange. It's okay to be messy with this, and then it's like yellow, and that's really where you have your like highlights. Then I like to just smooth it out with a little Gaussian blur, and then I make it overlay, and then I usually just like do like this much of a percent, but I just think it makes it look way more saturated and just like a lot prettier. And then finally I go to add, and I really just take any color and I go over with some very simple highlights. And then most of them I just like to blend out a lot. You just see the difference that it makes. You might want a little lower opacity, but it adds so much depth to it. And then maybe if I just get annoyed with how the eyes are turning out, which I kind of am right now, I'll go above the sketch layer, but I go onto the eyes and I add a highlight, and there we go. That is how I render with the blending modes, which is really only use normal, multiply, soft light, overlay, add, and another normal. Hopefully that helped. Anyway, now for my favorite part of the video, my outro. Here I like to do a few things, one of them being a drawing prompt for my fellow artists out there, because I know a lot of you have no clue what to draw, because yeah, I've been there before. I don't want you guys just scrolling on Pinterest for hours, because then you have no time to actually draw. So your drawing prompt for this week is to draw a character drinking your favorite drink. Could be water, Starbucks, smoothie, just your favorite drink. I think that would be a fun drawing prompt for you, and if you actually do make it, then tag me so I can see it, because I would actually really like to see that. And then we have your weekly reminder to not use AI. And then if you like this video, think about leaving a like, comment, or subscribing if you liked it that much. And if you really liked the video, then I'm pretty sure you would like this video right here, basically where I've tried the Pinterest OC Pause challenge, but I did it with a twist. Instead of like just drawing it and being boring, I actually made a challenge to create backstories for them and make their backstories connect, which was, let's just say that was a little difficult to do. I'm really thinking that you would like that. And anyways, see you next time. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day.